Now, let's talk about the Databricks Autoloader. What is Databricks Autoloader? Databricks Autoloader is a feature that has been released like a couple of years ago to take care of some of the data processing issues that people face when they try to ingest data into the browse area for those who follow the medallion architecture. Now, Databricks has come with autoloader to resolve so many issues, schema issues, data duplication issues, to resolve all that kind of issues. Uh, Unfortunately, people are not able to grasp this idea. It is very difficult for people to understand it. So I come up with this simple illustration, hoping that it can help you to understand it. Uh, let's start from the storage area. Here I'm using ADLS Gen 2, but it's not the only storage area that you can use. You can use a storage area that other cloud providers are providing, such as Amazon S3. But I'm just using ADLS storage area right here, and feel free to follow if you are using Amazon S3 as well. How do we get data into ADLS Gen 2? First of all, we use replication tools such as Azure Data Factory, uh, Click Replicate, or any other replication tools you guys may be aware of. So what we do is that we load the data into ADLS Gen 2, uh, and then we start bringing additional file into ADLS Gen 2. So those will be the incoming files. They will have different formats such as JSON, CSV, or Parquet. Once the data arrive into ADLS Gen 2, how do we differentiate the new data, the new files from the old files? Well, in every cloud provider, they have some kind of mechanism to send a notification of events that are happening. So our file detection will happen using a tool that is embedded, is already in Azure, um, called Event Grid. Event Grid will send the notification that hey, there is a new file that has arrived, or there are so many new files that have been arriving, and those files need to be placed somewhere. It could be placed in ADLS Gen 2 or in a queue, which basically you're kind of you're loading the file there incrementally. In the past, what people will do is that they will store file 1, file 2, file 3 in the queue. Once they process them, and file 4, file 5, file 6 come in, they will delete file 1, 2, 3, and have file 4, 5, 6 in the queue for the processing. But that we still run the risk of losing data if you are not careful how you delete your data. So the file detection will help the autoloader to know the new files that have arrived. Now, once the file have been detected, autoloader will start doing it works. What's the work of autoloader? It do the schema inference. What is schema inference? It will detect the data type, for instance, of the of the data inside of the file. It will check the it will check the data type. It will check if the data has the same format like the old one. So it's kind of reading the data frame of the data. Now, um, it will track the metadata of the data, the new files that have arrived. It will remove all the duplications that are in the data, whether we have the duplication in one single file or in multiple files, in old file and in new file. It will track all that and remove all the duplication. So the file deduplication will happen there when autoloader started doing it work. Now, once that is finished, we'll move into checkpointing. What is checkpointing? Is to check is to track the process files. To track the process file, how do we know that file 1, 2, 3 have already been processed? Is the checkpointing that is allowing us to know that. How do we know if we will start from file number 7 or file number 3, or if there is any gap? It's the checking, the checkpointing that is going to help us achieve that. Now, once that is done, the the loading of the data will start. Loading of the data, of the incremental data, of course, will start. So the streaming, the structure streaming will start, which is basically loading the additional data that has not yet been loaded. Will load that into the bronze area, again for those who follow the medallion architect. Uh, Now, moving from there, we will get it to the final destination where the data that has been streamed will be placed into Delta Lake storage again, where a, acid transaction has occurred and the schema evolution has happened. So we get the data as it is in the correct data type, inferring the schema, and we know that the data is now in its raw format in the bronze area. So that's pretty much the whole concept. But now I created just a example of path structure in ADLS Gen2, just to illustrate further the point that I was making. So you guys may have already known about the mounting points. So this mounting point is pretty much created in Databricks, letting the Databricks know that our file are stored in a container called raw data in ADLS Gen2, and it has this data file called file 1, file 2. And then we move on into the schema container, which is a schema.json, which will take care of the inference of schema files. Uh, and then the checkpointing, like I said, if data has already been processed or not. So the checkpointing tracking the process files, and the metadata is now saved again for future reference. So this is the manifest track process file. So that's pretty much the idea behind the autoloader, and hopefully this helps. So thank you for watching.